Today's class is we are going to emphasize on not something you don't know, not something that you have experienced before. It is a space that we forget most when when life is becoming a little bit tough, when we approach life with a sense of identity, sense of separation, sense of lacking. Most of the time, the vibration of the world is everyone feels that they are lacking of something. They are lacking in certain levels of something. And until we work on this doubt internal and externally, we constantly struggle because we attract the vibration, that low vibration of that doubt, whether it's a doubt in the finances, whether it's a doubt in the relationship, whether the doubt in the relationship to health. Uh, all these relationships are in that space. And we bring our vibration to a very low vibration and we attract the same low level vibrations like greed, fear, anger, frustration. Because to keep that vibration going on when we are in that rut, those things has to be vibrated because the higher vibration is love, generosity, friendship, compassion. And those vibrations that comes on that space of the higher, and these vibrations are lower because we function in these levels are the world is against you. The world is not a better place. The communities are not in a better place. And it pulls you down. So today's class is how to maintain this frequency of a higher vibration, not so much of doing things, but coming into that realization. So if you take the galaxy, 5% of the galaxy is the objects, maybe less than that. The rest is space. But what happened is our education system, especially the English language, you only talk and communicate even the frequency of spirituality through objects, not by space. We use the word space, but doesn't have any gravitation where everything is occurring, everything is created, everything is preserved, everything is destruction happens in this space. So to understand this space is very important because that is the only way you can lift up your vibration and not become personal about it. So today I will emphasize this on the class again and again, whether you're in a posture, whether you're on a space of breathing, whether you're in a space of aware of all of it on these levels so that it will bring you back and anchor not into your personality, not into your ego, but into this space. So saying that, taking a deep breath, shoulders roll back, breathe out very gently. Now taking the breath into the count of 4, breathing in into the count of 4, 2, 3, 4, breathing out into the count of 4. So we are not pausing so much, but we are aware of that little space there between the in and the out. Breathing in. And all of this is happening in between the space, among the space, and you're gently breathing in into the count of 4 and breathing out into the count of 4. That itself is enough for you to let go of the doubt, the fear, the anger, the frustration, and very gently this space. You're not using the language of the past and the future because there's nothing to achieve. It is just a gentle maintenance that every part of our life need. Now I will gently move the camera towards Darren. Now taking a gentle deep breath in, arms raised onto the crown, and elongate the spine, interlacing the fingers, and very gently pull the belly in and take the extension of the spine up to the interlation of the fingers from the tailbone, so that you can release the tension of the rib cage where you're holding this tension of life, tension of doubt, tension of lacking something, tension of have to achieve something. Now breathe out, twist the spine to the right side, stomach pulling. Maria, can you hear me? Great. Sylvia, can you hear me? Great. So, Dasa, I have lost you, but hopefully you will join. Great. So, now finding a space that you can relax back into the space very gently. And very gently taking that gentle breath to understand and bringing that awareness from that ego interference as a space of separation, whether it's a hurt, whether it's a fear, whether it's a lacking of something that has been troubling you this week, this moment. So once you have let down in life, this comes as a repetitive habit, whether it is in the space of your subconscious that you have been not supported. So now very gently take a deep breath in and very gently shake those hands and release any static that is coming in the space of the ego, coming in the space of the separation, that you're overprotecting yourself by staying that defensive state of the emotion. So shake the hands. Now take a deep breath in, stretch the arms out, arms raised onto the crown, very gently, interlacing the fingers, and take the extension of the spine from the tailbone to the interlation. Twist the spine to the right side very gently, arms stretched, and allowing the breath to go out. Now this will release you from a state of a static, stuck into those low vibrations, emotions that you think is protecting the ego and yourself, but it only have harm you, tighten you into a very small place. Now back to the center. Now very gently change the leg formation. Arms raised onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. Very gently twisting the spine to the left side. Now, while become conscious about these things that happening between the objects, happening between the language, between the graphic, you're creating space. Understand this. Opening up. Now very gently back into the center. Shoulders relax and chest open. Now, very gently breathing in and shrug the shoulders up, breath out, and very gently collapse the spine. Breathing in, shrug the shoulders up, tilt the head back, hold that space. Breathe out, drop the shoulders, and curve the spine. Collapse. Breathing in, shrug the shoulders up, breath out, drop the shoulders, collapse the spine. Now breath in, elongate the spine, and very gently taking a break from that, reinforcing the finite part of the ego, and that we have forgotten about our true nature is the space. Not as an object, but it is space. Now, this is what I was talking before. Try not to take a past or a future. Try not to take a place of planning. Try not to take a place of running. Only this pleasant space of serendipities arise in this consciousness. Now, as I start the class with the lower vibrations, now we are moving into the space of that higher vibration away from the right. Now take a deep breath in, shrug the shoulders up, tilt the head back, and massage the back of the head. Release that fear and the anger that holding the jaw, neck, connection to the spine. Breath out, chin to the chest, back of the neck is stretched. Do not collapse the spine. Keep that frequency of the spine rising with the breath and becoming aware through the breath. Releasing that guard in yourself, that defensiveness. Now take a deep breath in, very gently, bringing your left leg into the back where your right hip is open. When you take that leg back, you're releasing the tension of the limitation. And you're breathing into a space, from space to a space. There's incredible beauty in that. Now, very gently, you're breathing out from a space to a space. Now, you're aware of your ego, you're aware of your body, you're aware of your personalities. Now, drop the elbows and walk those palms into the front. Now, open and close those fingers and release any further tension. And create the space of the infinity. Create the space of the vibration of the infinity. You don't have to find an object to create this. Just you have to come to the space of the wonder. A space that we totally ignored when we are in frustration, when we are in fear, when we are in doubt. Now take a deep breath in, and very gently we are coming back into a space of a plank. Strong on the pelvic floor. Drop the knees. Stretch the spine into the back. Take a deep breath in. Shoulders relax and bring the chest into the front, rolling and breathing in into a gentle cobra. Breathe out towards the down. Now breathing in, left foot into the front on a breath out, bringing into that space of the pigeon. Shoulders roll back, breath out, drop the elbows, gently coming into that space, palms facing down, releasing the tension. Now the tension of what? Tension of that emotional run. Now you are very much conscious about your emotional space, the weather of the emotions. Like you can see on the space, the fear lightening up, anger thundering, but you are not any of these. They are just emotional static happening, but your conscious is not that desired frequency, but it can tolerate any of these things without reacting onto it. So if you have been let down, pushed down, hurt, you're not taking the next breath, the next conversation from that. You're not taking from a place of the God. When you understand this defensive emotional state that the ego lives, ego thrives. It's an ecosystem for the ego. So become aware of that low vibrations. It does not protect you. It only will take and suck the life out of you. It means a parasite. It lives in you. Now very gently coming back into a plank, tongue out the pelvic floor. Our devil is waiting us up. Drop the knees and stretch the spine completely. Breathe out. Dasa, sorry about the cutoff. Now hope you're connecting. Now very gently crawling and bringing the chest into the front, breathing into up face. Now breathe out towards the down face. Now remember, as in the start of the class, I was saying I will quite remind you about this frequency. Now very gently drop the knees, stretch the spine, allow those armpits to release any tension further holding as that emotional stagnate, frustration of things not going into the way of it is planned, frustration of getting somewhere in particular time. Observe all these emotional statics that are happening. And where you are separation of the ego, saying that it has been let down, it has been hurt. So now it is using you to put up your natural guard by being defensive, by being thinking of something is against you. Now the problem that occurred even in the class of the technology, there is a beautiful learning part when you're not personal. Maybe it works on the patience. Maybe it worked on nothingness. Maybe it worked on being aware. As I say, 5% is the objects. So you're taking a break from the language. Now, very gently drop the knees and stretch the spine totally, rolling and bringing the chest into the front, breathing in into up face. Now that breath, the movement of the body does not belong to the ego. It is totally energy of intelligence moving through you, God, being, breathe out towards the down face. Breathing in, lifting up onto the toes. Breathing out, drop into the heels. Drop the knees, scrolling and bringing the chest into the front. Breathing into up face. Breathing out towards the down face. Breathing in, lifting up onto the toes. Breathing out to the heels. Drop the knees, scrolling and bringing the chest into the front. Breathing into up face. Breathing out to the down. Now, very gently, left arm reaching into the back, up to the ceiling, into the front. Release the tension. Right arm reaching into the back, up to the ceiling, into the front. Touch the floor. Now take a deep breath in and left leg up into the back. Give a good rotation to the left foot. Left knee to the chest. Breathe out. Breathing in, switching back. Left knee onto the left elbow. Breathe out. Breathing in, switching back. Left knee onto the right elbow. Stretch back. Left foot into the front. Arms stretch into the back. Arms raise onto the crown. Placing the fingers, palms facing up. Arms onto the pranam position now. Take a deep breath in and twisting the spine to the left. Elbow past the knee. Now right reaching down, left reaching up. Now, because of the constant movement, have you lost yourself into the identification of the body? Don't point into the object. Notice that your mind cannot think about this space any length because it is only programmed to work with objects. Now looking up to the left, reaching into the back, touch the floor. Take a deep breath in, right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Look up to the right. Into the back, touch the floor. Now take a deep breath in. And very gently drop the back knee onto the floor, holding onto the front. Lunge forward and backward few times to release any step. The object that the mind has been occupying. Now let the awareness be aware of everything. In moving, in not moving. Now you can see at that very moment, the joy and the bliss is the experience. Now take a deep breath in, arms stretch into the back, arms raise onto the crown, interlacing the fingers. Spread the wings wider, breath out. Into a plank. Strong on the pelvic floor. Now lower plank if you can, otherwise drop the knees. Breathing in, up face. Breathe out, down face. Breathing in, right leg up into the back. Right knee to the chest. Stretch back, breathing in. Right knee to the right elbow. Stretch back, breathing in. Right knee to the left. Stretch back. Right foot into the front. Arms stretch into the back. Arms raise onto the ground. Palms onto the pranam position. Take a deep breath in. Twist the spine to the right, elbow past them. Right reaching up to the ceiling, left reaching down. Now look up. Until you look up, you don't know whether the arm has moved or hanging or where it is situated. Now bring the energy that is beyond the object of the arm. Right reaching into the back, flow on the arm. Left reaching up into the back and touch the floor. Now rub the back knee, holding onto the front knee. Lunge forward and backward for a few times to release any further tension. Now, what you mean by the tension that interferes, the guard, the defensive emotional state, the low vibration, that you think that it is protecting you, but it is only protecting and limits you into a shadow of the ego. Now, very gently palms onto the floor, into a plank. Now, very gently drop the knees. Now, give a good rotation to the space that the organs are held, space that the organ itself has. Brilliant. What a rotation to the space. The space that the objects are moving. Now, remember, I said that even the galaxy, only the 5% is the object, the rest is space. But we are never taught, and mind never can understand this space. Why the rotation? Why the rotation? Now knees wide apart, stretch the spine. Bum onto the heels. Even when bum onto the heels, it's all happening in space. Any length. And then ego is in the object. Awareness stays in awareness. The uncaused by the space of the joy that heals the body, the bliss that tells you that this is enough, pretty much immediately. Now, ego will say, but not like the way the others have, and pull you out into the surface. So be aware of the space and look at it. You see the experience, the incredible nothingness, incredible beauty. There is no thingness. Just being aware of the space. Even the space surrounding your body allows you to break the idea that you are the body and bring you into the space of whole, being, infinite, nothing, God. Now, when I say, do you understand? I'm constantly talking even to your ego, pointing at things, giving it a name. But now the pointing is when I ask, that is space, which the mind cannot think. Now very gently come into a space of a cat. But be conscious about the doing. and keep the experience of the bliss, the joy, and the light. Breathing into the space of the cow. Breathe out. Anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the infinite space of a reminder. In this Chidakas, in this dark space, I am conscious about the real wonder. I am conscious about the space who I am. Not I am. Let's say I'm less. Let's say we are one without two, three, or four. Neutral spine. Left arm reaching into the front up to the ceiling. Left arm reaching into the back under the right arm. Now there is no start or an end into this level of realization. Now, if you want to see the consciousness, you could see the galaxy itself. It's all space, not space. Now that unknown is not your enemy. So why are you struggling? Because the known told you unknown is a terrible place to be. So the whole world is suffering equally by misleading. So coming to that realization, now breathing in very gently, coming back, shoulders relaxed, chest open, breathe out to a cat, breathing in into a cow, breathe out, breathing into a neutral spine, right arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling, into the back, under the armpit. Now very gently releasing the tension that you're holding. Now how to release that tension? Are you really doing something, or you're bringing the finite into the infinite and creating the space? This is the real wonder. Now, when your mind goes from one to two, be aware of it. Whether it's happening on a space of understanding, it never happens. Understanding, you are quite aware about your emotional weather patterns, appearing as an object, appearing as a separation. Now, very gently, you take a deep breath in and gently coming back, releasing the tension, breathe out for space of the cat. Breathing in into a cow, tongue roll up onto the space of the upper palate. Now give a rotation into a neutral spine onto the hips and gently releasing the energy that was stuck. Now you're very gently moving from that emotional rut, the negative rut, habitual rut, the doubt that has been holding the organ by fear and anger and lack. But the whole world is lacking something. When you understand, come back into the center. Give a Good rotation to the other side. And bring the space of this body into that desired frequency of your understanding. Now, the only person that can bring, is it a person or a realization? There are higher vibrations and there are lower vibrations. Hurt, guarding yourself, defensive. And there is bliss, compassion, and turning every situation of a lower into an understanding. And you're questioning, why is this happening to me? Why? And then that can be corrected. Now, very gently, push the bum into the back, rolling and bringing the chest into the front. Drop the belly, soften the hips. Now, clasp the hands in the back. Soften, stretch the legs, breathing in and very gently lift up. Not so much of densing the spine, but coming into the understanding. Now relax and let go. And allow the head to turn onto a side that it is naturally wishing to. Now you could see it's into the symbolic ego sense. It is into a physiological and a psychological on a level of objects. Now you could see for the ego, this is a symbolic death. So it is triggering you that things have come to an end. Things have come to a loss. Things have come to a disappointment. Now your realization has entered this whole level of a way of being. Now you can mourn to the death of that symbolic. But treat that old self in a level of shedding a skin to grow. Maybe understanding as a sacrifice. But now your realization is allowing you to see the new life. It's not about ignoring what is ending out of fear, out of doubt, out of denial. Now you have come into the understanding what is behind these endings, which are always a new level of consciousness. It's a beginning. Now turn the head onto a side that is opposite to what you return. Now take a deep breath in and lift up into a gentle cobra, palms onto the floor or elbows onto the floor. Extend that spine, that if you ignore the space, you have tightened the object. But if you become conscious about the space where the spine holding, the body holding, you have come into participation of the space. Now very gently let go, and next time holding on to the ankles to breathing in and coming. Now, if you really see, the posture is truly beautiful because it's emerged this understanding as a process. And it allows this understanding. And there is more is meant for you than the limitation of the ego. Now bring the heels closer to the buttocks. Relax the upper body. Now I want you to use the thumb and pressure and activate a part of that feet. Now very gently, you have breaking open of what once was limitation. And release and now palms onto the chest level. Breathing in into up face. Breathing out towards the down face. Now very gently walk those palms into the back, releasing. Now you could see the confinement of the body is too small because are you the object or are you the space? Holding onto the opposite elbows. Moving the head into the front and into the back, moving the head into the side. Are you the object or the space? Now, at that very moment, if you take the limitation out, you have taken the punishment out. If you take the limitation out, you have taken the harm out. I'm not saying these things are good or bad or wrong or right, but you are outgrowing to the growing capacity of that consciousness. Be present. Be present. You have come a long way. Now drop the arms, release the tension, move the arms side to side like a rag doll. Follow the journey. Follow the journey. Now very gently waking up the spine, one vertebra at a time. Not by force, just by space. You could see the shrink of a balloon when space is created. So give that space between the organs, between the bone structure, between the nerves. Now, naturally, what is changing internally will attract the external. What is changing in the inner level will attract. Shoulders relax. Now, give a good rotation to the hips. All stagnations and the trigger points are in here. So the change is now occurring. Do not resist your own evolution to go back to your limitation. I say to my students, you have either involved or evolved. Involve is in the ego, evolve is trust where your path is leading you. Shake the legs, shake the arms, jump up and down, come into the space. Leave the body for a while. Being a little crazy is often a wise way to be. Otherwise, you become like a robot. Now sit deeper. If you want to use a block, then you may use a block or a bolster. Now, so far, you have come into the capacity to attract the most luminous, most wise way. So this space is enough to call in beneficial of grace. Now, what did you let go? You let go of your belief systems. And you became into the space of impossible. Now, see, the language itself is a vibration. Huh? You have to come into this understanding. It is created, especially in the English language, not to enhance, but to hold you, fight you, suffer you, bothers you by calling upon on those conditions. You have come into a place of understanding of grace rather than only suffering. Not bum onto the floor. Now, see, the limitation of the time has come into an end. Now, see deeper. Just allow that breath to come into sense of subtle. Being aware of the mind chatter talking to yourself. Out of what the residue is like, the shadows will still talk. It may come and re-enter as information. It may come and say, this is sense of who you are. So it's easy to dismiss the consciousness. I'm not. So what is the subtle in here? The subtle in here is a space, a significant growth is happening with your own soul. Continue to commit into it. Because this change is transformation, transition. So this realization comes as a flicker, but it's a bright, blazing clarity. Now, remember the start of the class. The life was tough. You got stuck. The wrath, the fear, the anger, not having enough. You have to be very careful of this emotional static that the news gives. Interferes with your frequency and letting you down in space of hurt. And letting you down, asking you to guard yourself in that defensive emotion. All these are low vibration where sickness happens. Now there is a protective spiritual presence. Now, anything that you should shield it should be from these negative agencies that you thought as protection, as thinking about the future. Now, very gently twisting the spine to the right side, stomach pulled in, back to the center. Change the legs, twisting the spine to the opposite direction. Back into the center, switch the neck to the right. Back to the center, switch the neck into the left. Arms raise very gently back into the center, into the crown. Coming home, beloved of mine. Now that space is through the crown, asking you to be with it. It has much more to share with you and the rest of the world without any limitation. You give from a place of unlimitation. Let go the rattle of the cages that this limitation of the ego holds. Bring the palms into the third eye. The liberation is calling to everybody. Open to that space of her. Let the throat speak from that space. Let the words of your mantra should be freedom and liberation coming in every part of your life. Falling into the space of the heart. Totally being safe in that and trust. It's implicit. Solar plexus. Having that significant spiritual breakthrough of realization today. Neighbor, very gently, guided by your heart. Mooladhara. Very gently, you're taking the steps willing to provide what is needed to fulfill you. Very gently, arms raised, cleansing the vibration, creating that space in your home, loved ones, creating that capacity for experience that is raising the arms back to the crown to healing the nourishment, being in that space of the soul banquet. Palms onto the namaskar position. Allow yourself to acknowledge what is that you yearn for, and that life shall generously provide it for you because it was yours always. Give yourself to enjoy that space. Connect to your mind and body lovingly, and your soul can grow into the feast upon the banquet of experience that life provides. Namaste. Now you see Now you see the limitation was coming from your limited space of the ego. The doubt, the fear, the greed. And what limited you, using objects as money, as help, but you are really none of these. You are the space of the galaxy, that 5% of all world's galactic matter floats on it. But yet your education only allows you, the ego will allows you to understand the objects, but not that ultimate space. Today's class was, even all these things are happening with the computer and all that. You saw when you're in that vibration, you remain calm and you do whatever needed to be done. Mhm. Or it can be by even a spiritual gathering as an obstacle. But you turn that obstacle into something of a realization. The whole banquet is yours. So why you are holding on to one dish when you can serve from all this that is the universe is? Now see our limitation somewhere down in the track. Someone told me, you're dreaming too much, you're achieving too much. No, achieve. Stop and start and stop and start and achieve. Even I am giving you spiritual level of understanding. I am not limiting you because you're not meant to be limited. You're not meant to be limited in the space of, is that sage? Very good. Hi, sage. So even you have a difficulty in the body, you have to understand. Even you have a difficulty in somewhere that is created by a separation of the ego. You are larger than that. Because the language says I, you hold on to things without realization. If you want to hold on to identification, hold on to the identification of the realization, the space, and you'll be in much more better space. As I say, the world is going on something lacking. Nothing is lacking. The beauty is everywhere. The prosperity is everywhere. The vibration of the frequency is there. But we have a choice to tap into the low or to the high. High is in the space of bliss, love, compassion, generosity. Low is in the space of security, fear, greed, and separation. All right. My love to you all. Thank you so much. Love you all. Big hugs for you all. Rebecca, Des, Maria, Sage, Sylvia. Enjoy the sun. Then you will identify not by the ego, but by space, and its vibration is much more larger. Love you all. Bye for now.